Okay, over to me by the sounds of it. So, hello everybody. Thank you for your patience waiting for us to start the class. So 1 o'clock, off we go. So just as always, just remember, I can't see you, so I have no idea what you're doing. So just make sure you try and listen to my instructions carefully. If I ask you to do anything you feel uncomfortable doing, please don't do it. You don't have to do all of the sequences today. If you have any injuries at all, just make sure that you don't do anything you feel you shouldn't be doing. So just really just basically listening to your bodies and just making sure that you stay safe. Okay, so from there, let's do a standing warm-up as we would normally do. So just so we can get our bodies nice and warm, get our spine moving in different planes of movement, and just then we'll go down onto our mat to do our mat Pilates. So standing, first of all, just make sure you've got a really nice standing posture. So standing with the heels underneath your hip bones, those two bony parts of your hips. Just make sure your legs are parallel and just look down at your feet and just make sure they're facing directly forwards. Then look up, look forwards, and lift your toes off the floor. So just spread your toes nice and wide. Maybe just give them a little wiggle, particularly if they've been in shoes all day. Really nice just to stretch them out. And then keep them fairly spread out. Just pop them back down onto the floor. Then from there, just make sure your knees are fairly soft. So try not to push the back of your knees towards the wall behind you or pull your kneecaps up towards your hips. Just release your knees. So just a little bit of softness in your knees and in your thighs as well. So really lengthen the spine. So just feel like you're trying to get the top of your head up towards the ceiling whilst we open the shoulders and the chest. So just making sure that our shoulders are away from our ears. And we just need to make sure that we're not popping the rib cage up. So don't flare your rib cage forwards and upwards. Just soften it down towards your hips so you've got that rib to hip connection. Making sure we find the neutral position for our pelvis, which we maintain standing, seated, and usually when we're lying on our backs most of the time. So just maybe do a little tuck under with your tailbones, just like you're trying to tuck your tailbone in between your legs, keeping everything else nice and still. And then just tip your sit bones up towards the ceiling, and then just settle in that neutral position. So in between the tip and the tilt of your pelvis, and then we can pull your abdominals in. So just feel like you're trying to zip up a tight pair of trousers. So you're pulling up and pulling in. So you've got that support all the way around your centre, and just trying to maintain it to a degree throughout the class. So that should allow us to keep our pelvis nice and still or in neutral, and to just look after our backs as well. So just let your arms come down by your sides, and let's just bring the shoulders forwards up by your ears and slide your shoulder blades back and down towards the base of the spine. Just carry on just with those gentle shoulder rolls. We'll just think about our breathing. So breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your mouth. Remember your lateral breath, so just keep doing what you're doing. And then I'm just going to show you, just put your hands on it. I'm just putting my hands on my rib cage just to demonstrate that as you breathe in, your ribs go sideways. So you're breathing sideways into the side of the rib cage and into your back. And then as you breathe out, your ribs draw back in towards each other. So just do one more last shoulder roll. Bring your shoulders towards up by your ears. Keep your shoulder blades back and down. And now as we breathe in, we're just going to float the arms up towards the ceiling. And as you breathe out, bring them down by your sides. And bigger range of motion through your shoulders. We lift the arms up and we take them wide to the sides and bring them back down. So nice big circles of the arms, or just up and down if that's not for you. And if you don't want to take them all the way to the ceiling, that's fine. So breathing in through your nose, just circle your up, reach your arms up, and then circle your arms wide to the side as they come down. Do one more. Nice big deep breath in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Just keep your arms down by your sides. On your next inhale, if you can, just lift your heels away from the floor, just rising up onto the balls of your feet, challenging your balance, and slowly come back down. And then lifting up, so try and keep the weight even across the front of your foot as you lift the heels off the floor. So we're maintaining our legs hip width apart, just sliding up. So just imagine you're sliding your back up a really slippery wall, and your back doesn't really leave the wall, so you're not leaning forwards at all. Do one more, breathing in, lift, trying to get your top of your head towards the ceiling again. And let's take the arms up as we lift the heels away from the floor now. So just float your arms up towards the ceiling as your heels lift off the floor. And let's do that arm circle again, wide to the side and down as you lower your heels. So just putting those two together. Breathing in, floating up, arms wide to the side and down. So really good practice to challenge your balance. So as we get older, our balance gets harder. So just practicing balance every day is really quite a good thing to do. And then last time, just bring your arms down by your sides. And let's just start to walk through our feet. So just peeling alternate heels away from the floor. So just finding that stretch underneath your foot as the heel lifts, and up behind your toes as well, depending on how much of your foot you want to lift off the floor. So just a little heel lift, or just coming right up onto the balls of your feet as you peel the heel away from the floor. So let's just start to add the opposite arm. So now we're going to march our arms as we walk through our feet. So it's opposite arm lifts to the heel that's lifting. So trying to keep fairly balanced both sides of the body, so we're not rocking too much from side to side. So just getting a little bit warmer now, maybe, as we're just marching our arms and our feet. Good. And then let's do one more. And then bring your arms down as your heels come down. A little bit more challenge in your balance now. So shoulders back and down, palms facing the side of your hips. Breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to reach the arms forward. Just slide your left foot along the floor. And if you can, just lift the leg up. So reaching your toes forward, fingertips forward. And then as you breathe in, just lower the foot down. Hover your foot underneath your hip, or put your foot down if you need to. And then if you can, just reach your arms wide and flex your foot as you reach your arms wide. So just lift your leg up sideways and then bring the arms down. Just hover the foot under the hip or put your foot on the floor. Then point your toes. Same leg, we're reaching the arms forward and lifting the leg, so your toes and your fingertips are reaching forwards. Keep the leg long. Just remember, you can keep your foot on the floor, just slide your foot on the floor if you need to. Can we flex the foot and take the arms and the leg wide to the side again? So you're really strong in that standing leg. So we're really challenged in strengthening the leg and our balance. Just one more. Reach through your toes as your arms reach forward, just in line with your shoulders. Float your leg down, your foot hovers under your hip, put your foot down if you need to. Hold on, you can always hold on to a wall if you want to stand by the side of a wall, and just hold on to the wall or onto a chair, and then put your foot down. Just shake out your right leg, put your foot back down under your hip. Let's do the other leg. Breathe in as you breath, just slide your right foot along, but if you can, lift it up, reaching through your toes. And then arms come down, your foot hovers underneath your hip. Flex your foot, take the arms wide side and lift the leg wide to the side. Away from the floor. If you kind of just slide your foot along, let's do two more each way. Point your toes, float the leg, reach your arms forward. Hover the foot under the hip, arms down. Wide to the side with your foot flexed. Remember, as it goes wide to the side, hover it down. Just one more. So really strong in that left leg now, just standing on one leg. So again, strengthening as we mobilise. Well done. And put your foot down under your hip, arms down. Just shake out your left leg. Then reset. Make sure your heels are still underneath your hips. Let's work into the legs and the glutes now. So we're going to go into our squat. So breathe in. As you breathe out, let's sit back and down as you reach your arms forward. Heavy in your heels, light in your toes. Push into your heels, squeeze your glutes, straighten your legs, stand nice and tall. And go again, exhaling. So there's a low chair just behind you. Aiming your backside towards that chair. Don't sit down, push into your heels and stand nice and tall. And go again. Try and make sure your knees stay hip width apart. So you're keeping that nice alignment, legs hip width apart all the time. So we're not putting any pressure into our ankles, our knees, our hips. You don't need to go this deep. You might just want to do a little knee bend. Otherwise, you might want to try and go a little bit deeper into that squat. Squeeze your glutes, push into your heels. Really working the legs and the glutes. And remember, just pulling your abdominals in as well, pulling your tummy in, just to maintain that stability and just looking after your back as well. Last time, reach forward, sit back and down. Let's push into the heels and stand nice and tall at the top. So I want you to just go to the end of your mat now, if you're not there already. And we're just going to do a little bit of rolling through our spine. So we're going to mobilise the spine. We're going to do a standing cat and cow for a change. So standing nice and tall, first of all, just put your hands on the top of your thighs. Then just bend your knees and hinge your hips. So keep your spine nice and long and your neck. Just take your elbows wide to the side here. Breathe in as you breathe out. Let's just tuck the tailbone under, round the spine. And then just take your arms a little bit wide and tuck your chin in towards you. So you're in a cat stretch. And as you breathe in, just pull your elbows in towards each other. Slowly, without bending the knees anymore, straightening the legs, lift your chest and look forward. So we're in a standing cow pose. And then again, keep the knees bent if you can. Tuck your chin, tuck your tail, take your elbows nice and wide. So stretch across your back. And then breathing in, let's come into our cow pose again. Chest forward, look forwards one more last time. So really round the spine. So that's flexion of your spine, tucking the chin, tucking the tail, and then extending the spine. Elbows draw in, shoulder blades draw down, lift your chest, look forward. And then we're going to slowly straighten legs as much as you can, round your spine, coming into that cat stretch again. But this time, we're going to go all the way down. So you're folded over, big bend to the knees if you need to. Keep your hands on your thighs if you need support. Look in between your legs. Breathe in as you breathe out. This time we're going to roll all the way up and stand nice and tall at the top. So you're just restacking your spine, shoulders over your hips, look forwards. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let's roll down again. So we've warmed up the spine now and the back of the legs. It should be a little bit easier now. But remember, your options, don't go all the way down if it's not for you. Big bend to the knees if you need to. And then just coming down with your hips over your heels and coming all the way up. So just imagine your vertebrae like little Lego blocks. And you're just stacking one block on top of the other as you come up. And you're just taking one block away, one by one, as you slowly come all the way down. So this is the last time we're coming down. So nice and slowly, top of the head towards the floor, hands towards the big bend in the knees now. Put your hands on the mat in front of your feet and let's walk out towards the top end of the mat. And then drop your knees onto the floor, coming into your tabletop position. So nice and square here, so like a tabletop. Wrists are under your shoulders and knees are under your hips. Make fists of your hands if you need to. If you've got weak wrists or issues with your wrists at all, just like by making fists of your hands will take a little bit of the pressure off your wrists. Or if you needed to, you could come down onto your forearms and just work your legs only. Otherwise, we're on our hands and knees. Just make sure you feel really lengthened in your spine, but without tipping the sit bones up or tucking under. So just, again, finding that neutral position in between. Pull your tummy in, shoulder blades back and down. Keep your neck nice and long, so don't look forwards and don't look at your knees. Just keep your neck in line with your spine. So bearing all of that in mind, we're going to start to move. So breathe in. As you breathe out, we're just going to slide the left foot and the right hand along the floor. And then we're going to lift them up, so the arms in line with the shoulder, the legs in line with the hip. Then we're going to lower the hand down and the foot down, and then slide the hand and the knee and the foot back in. So we're back in our tabletop. Let's go the other side. So slide the left hand and the right foot along the floor, then lift them up, arm in line with the shoulder, leg in line with the hip, then lower them down, and then slide them back in. So let's just speed that up a little bit. So exhale, the right arm, the left leg lengthen and lift. And inhale, then lower and draw back in. Left arm, right leg lengthen and lift. Lower down and draw back in. You can keep both of your hands on the floor if you want to and just work your legs only. Or indeed, you could even keep both of your knees under your hips and work your arms only. Otherwise, remember, it's opposite arm, opposite leg. Keeping that balance across your shoulders and your hips all the time. So try not to lift the leg too high, otherwise you're going to hike your hip up. Doesn't matter if it's lifted a little bit lower than your hip height, that's absolutely fine. But just making sure that we stay really level across our hips and our shoulders. So just swimming. So it's a really nice core strength and mobility exercise. Let's do one more of those each side. Rest anytime you need to. We've done quite a few now. I've got a little bit of challenge coming up now. Either sit back on your heels, if you can stay with me, let's extend the right arm and the left leg and lift them up. So again, your arms at shoulder height, your legs at hip height. Now stay here if you can. Breathe in. As you breathe out, we're just going to take the arm and the leg on a diagonal. So just imagine you're sliding your arm and your leg across a really smooth, shiny surface. And then breathing in, just bring them back to that midline position again. So find the diagonal. So don't take the leg too wide. Otherwise, you're going to pull your hips around you. So we're just going to do 4. So keep the arm and the leg shoulder height and hip height all the time. So a lot of weight bearing through your left arm and shoulder. So if you need to just come out of this any time, then you come back to that midline position, hand under shoulder, knee under your hip. Let's do the same. So your left arm and your right leg lengthen and lift. Keep length through the top of your head. Let's exhale, take the arm and the leg on a W. So your arm can go wider than your leg because you've got a bigger range of movement through your shoulder than your hip joint if you're in this position. But keep it really small if you need to. Try not to let the leg drop towards the floor. And remember, rest if you need. So we're on our last one now, so nearly there. And then arm and the leg come into that midline. Hand down, knee down, and then just sit on your heels, come to a kneeling position, or high kneel if that's more comfortable for you. Roll your shoulders, just getting some movement into your shoulder joint as we rotate the shoulders, and then circle your wrists, just getting some mobility back into those wrist joints that we've been putting all our weight into. So there, let's just come back onto our hands and knees so we can walk the hands towards the top end of the mat, and then cop yourself onto your forearms so you can walk the knees back and safely and slowly coming all the way down to your lying down position. So we're going to work the back of the body, so strengthening the back and lengthening the spine in extension. So again, I'll give you different levels. So the first option is just to lie down. We'll all start with the first option. Just stack your hands and rest your forehead lightly on the backs of your hands. So make sure your arms are in a diamond shape, so your elbows are lower than your stacked hands, so we can pull the shoulder blades back and down. So your shoulder blades are pulling back towards the base of your spine. Make sure that your lower back feels open. So you might just want to feel like you're pushing your sit bones towards the back end of the mat and draw your tummy away from the mat. So just trying to find some space underneath your belly button. So keeping your tummy pulled in, so that's going to keep your pelvis nice and still, and it's going to look after your back as well, just by drawing your abdominals in. Just going to start to move now, so just the upper spine. So breathe in. As you breathe out, we're just going to float the head and the chest away from the floor. Pull your shoulder blades down, don't creep up, and lengthen the top of your head forwards. And breathing in, coming back down again. So lengthening, extending the upper spine, lengthening and lifting. So the back of your head's going up towards the ceiling, the top of your head is reaching forward. So your eye gaze should just be wandering, maybe just towards the top end of the mat as you lift. Don't look forwards. So you want to keep the back of the neck nice and long, in line with your spine. Try not to press into your arms. So breathing out to lift and breathing in to lower. Let's do one more like that, and you can stay with this if you want to. Just keeping your arms in this position. Otherwise, I'm going to challenge you a little bit more. So if you can, just slide your hands from underneath your forehead without lowering your forehead onto the floor. So keep your neck in exactly the same place, and then take your arms wide to the sides and bring your arms by the side of your hips and turn your palms up to face the ceiling, and then just rest your arms on the floor. So your fingertips are pointing towards the bottom end of the mat. Top of your head is pointing towards the wall in front of you. From here, breathe in. As you breathe out, same as before, you're just lifting your head and chest away from the floor and your arms, and then turn your palms in to face each other. Draw your shoulder blades in and down. Just reach your fingertips towards the heels. And breathing in slowly, lower your upper body, lower your arms all the way down onto the floor and turn your palms back to face the ceiling. So exhaling, we lift the head, the chest, make sure you're pulling your abdominals in, float the arms all at the same time, turn your palms in, pulling the shoulder blades back and down. So we're streamlined, so this is a dart, so we're streamlined like a dart or an arrow, and slowly coming back down, your shoulders release, your palms turn to face the ceiling. And go again, exhaling, lengthen and lift. And just reach through the top of your head, forwards, through your fingertips behind you, and slowly coming back down. So no pinching in your lower back. So remember to try and keep your lower back really open. So if you feel any pinching, maybe don't lift so high, or just try and just gently tuck your, just press your pelvic bone down into the floor. So keeping that openness in your lower back. Just do one more, so I've done quite a few. Let's do one more. So really good for our posture and strengthening the muscles in our backs. Oh, something seems to have happened. I've lost you all. I don't know if you can still see me. Hold on. Got it? Oh, I've no idea what's happened there. Ah.
We can see you. Well, I can see
me.
you.
Oh, do you know, I have no idea what's happened. Okay, sorry. I'm there again. Sorry. I have no idea what happened. I've got a pop-up on my screen. Thank you for letting me know. So hopefully, you've stopped now. So come all the way down now. If you haven't come all the way down, make sure you come down. Let's put your hands underneath your shoulders. Punch yourself up onto your hands and knees again. And pull your sit bones back towards your heels. I have no idea where that came from. Somebody's haunting me. Sit bones towards your heels, a really nice stretch. So this is like an extended child's pose. So just keep the arms overhead, chest towards your thighs. So a really nice stretch there. Can you just come up onto your hands and knees again? It's just going to get a little bit of mobility back into your spine. And come onto your forearms if you need to. Otherwise, back in your tabletop. Feel the length in your spine. So we're going to cat and cow, but we're going to do a little sway of the hips too. So breathe in. As you breathe out, tuck your tailbone under, really round your spine. So this is really counterbalancing that extension work we just did. Come into that lovely cat stretch, chin to chest. Now breathe in, tip your sit bones up towards the ceiling, dip your spine, slide your shoulder blades back and down, lift your chest and look forwards, extending the spine. Now lengthen back into your neutral tabletop position. Breathe in. As you breathe out, can you just sway your hips gently to the left and turn your head to the left as if you're trying to look at your left hip. So you're crunching into your left side waist. And then just sway your hips back through center, sway your hips to the right and turn your head to the right. So get a nice stretch down the side waist. And then just bring your spine back into neutral tabletop position. Good. And then from there, walk yourselves towards the front, the back end of you. So you've got the length of the mat in front of you. These things are sent, aren't they? So sit nice and tall. Let's have our knees bent. So just going to get a little bit of mobility back into our spines. So sit nice and tall with your feet, knees bent, not your feet bent, your knees bent, heels, knees, and just sit bones in a line. Make sure your legs are hip width apart, shoulder blades back and down. You can keep your hands behind your thighs if you need support to help you stabilize. Otherwise, just reach your arms forward. So again, feel the lift of the top of your head up towards the ceiling. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just tuck your tailbone under, roll off your sit bone, just coming off your pelvis, just onto your lower back, but try not to let your shoulder blades or shoulders creep up towards your ears. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let's come up and sit really nice and tall at the top. Big in breath. As you breathe, just tuck and roll, just getting that fluidity in your spine, just C-curving your spine, navel to spine, shoulders wide and open sleep. So core strength, so using your abdomen, sit really nice and tall at the top. Optionally, as you start to roll back, just start to open your arms wide side. So just feel your chest and your shoulders open, hands stay in your peripheral vision, elbows stay soft. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just draw the arms back in towards each other, shoulder width apart as you sit tall at the top. And then go again, tuck and roll. It's up to you. Just get your arms forward. Otherwise, just open the shoulders, open the chest as we roll back. Breathe in as you maintain that C curve, and now exhale, we're going to come up. Shoulders are over your hips, sit nice and tall. Just do that one more last time. So really making sure that you keep that little bit of space in between your chin and your chest as well. And coming up and sit nice and tall at the top. Now breathe in, lift your arms up towards you. Big circle of your arms wide to side. Just let your arms rest lightly on the mat down by your sides. And roll your shoulders. Stay where you are. I'm just going to turn sideways. I'm going to do a spine twist now. So getting that, we've just warmed up the spine. When we're on our floors, we did our little sway of the hips from side to side. So we're going to rotate the spine now, as long as you feel comfortable to do so. So I want you to make sure you're sitting really nice and tall, and as long as it's not uncomfortable in your hips, try and sit with the soles of your feet together. So this is a really nice way just to open up the hips. So just letting your knees fall naturally where they would fall wide to the side, so don't force them. If that's uncomfortable, just take your knees and your feet hip width apart, or indeed you could even sit with your legs crossed. But a nice hip opener. So your legs are in a diamond shape, soles and feet together. So make sure you're on your sit bones, so sitting really nice and tall with your shoulders over your hips, top of the head again, lifting up towards the ceiling. Again, I'm going to give you options. So first of all, just put your arms on the mat down by your side, shoulders away from your ears. As you breathe in, just take your arms wide to the sides and bring your palms together overhead. And then as you breathe out, just slowly draw your hands down towards the center of your chest. So just let your thumbs come towards your sternum. Fingertips face towards you, and your hands are just gently pressing together. So this is your first option. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just rotate from the waist, just twisting round to the left, and keep your nose in line with your fingertips all the time. And breathing in, we're going to come back through center. Breathing out, let's twist to the right. So keep the weight even in both of your sit bones, so your sit bones are glued to the floor here. So we're only mobilizing from the top of the hips or from the waist upwards, and you're twisting in one piece from side to side. Just away, exhale as you move away from that midline, and inhaling as you come back in. Next option, just reach your arms wide, so a little bit more challenging now with the arms, so you've got the weight of your arms reaching wide now. Just make sure your hands are in your peripheral vision, and then breathe in as you breath. Let's do our spine twist with our arms wide, so keeping that distance between your arms the same all the time. Coming back through center, just like I've got helicopter arms here, twisting from side to side. Each time you go to the side, can you grow a little bit taller? Just lifting the top of your head up towards the ceiling, and try not to allow your shoulders to start to creep up towards your ears. Let's add in a little bit of a pulse. So we're going to twist to the left, stay here and do 2 or 3 little pulsing movements. So pulse and pulse and pulse. You just get a little bit more stretch. Back through center, breathing in, breathing out. Go to the right, and then just those little 2 or 3 little pulses. You can just feel a little bit more stretch, a little bit more movement through your spine. So don't use the arms for momentum. All the work's coming through your core, through your spine. Let's do another one, and do 1 more each way. So we should have done the same amount each time. Keep your spine really long. Try not to round your spine. Your arms are feeling heavy now. And last time to the right. And then bring your arms back up. Just let your arms reach down by your sides. Roll your shoulders, lengthen your legs and give your legs a shake. So just releasing off any tension in your legs. And then I'm just going to turn around, so if you can move, just make sure the length of your mat's behind you. And we're just going to come like all the way down now. So like on your backs. Back of your heads on the floor. Bring your feet in a little bit. So again, you've still got that hip width between your legs. So your legs are hip width apart. Your heels, your knees, and your hip bones, your sit bones are in alignment. Shoulders wide across your back on that, and lengthening that. And again, really importantly, as always, just pull your abdominals into, making sure your abdominals are pulling in or pull up, so you've got that support. It's almost like you're trying to shorten the space in between your 2 hip bones, so navel draws in towards your spine. So just making sure that we protect our backs here. Then all I want you to do is lift your left foot off the floor, bring your left knee in towards your chest, keeping the heel in line with the knee and the hip, and then just lightly put your hand on top of the knee. So we're not pulling the knee in, it's just towards the chest, and your hands are lightly resting on top of your left knee. Then you're going to slide your right leg along the floor, lengthen your right leg, and just lift it away from the floor, maybe just halfway up towards the ceiling, just reaching through your toes. So from there, breathe in. As you breathe out, can you lift your head off the floor, peel your upper spine off the mat so you're looking forwards. So your right leg's long, your left knee's in, and our head and shoulders are off the mat. Put your head and shoulders down at any time you need to. Breathe in. As you breathe out, draw your right knee in towards your chest as your left leg stretches away. And then on your next exhale, let's switch again. Left knee comes in as your right leg stretches. So this is your single leg stretch, stretching the leg long out of the hip as the other knee comes in. So don't pull the knee in, you're just very gently putting your hands on top of that incoming knee. And then we can just speed it up. So switch and switch and switch and switch. Breathing in through the nose for 2 stretches and breathing out through the mouth for 2 stretches. Try and keep your elbows nice and wide so you're not closing your shoulders and your chest. You can take the leg a little bit higher up towards the ceiling if you need to. Otherwise, you can take the leg a little bit lower if you want a little bit more of a challenge. So try not to rock through your torso. Keep your torso nice and still. And just really reaching, trying to get your toes on the wall in front of you. Stretching is a single leg stretch, so it's a stretch. Keep pulling your abdominals in. Try not to let your tummy pull out. Push outwards, pull it in. And let's keep going. Let's do 4 more each leg. And then just that last 4. And then both of your knees in, shoulder and head come down onto the floor. Relax your shoulders onto the mat, hug your knees in. Gently turn your head from side to side. So you just get a little bit of release in the back of your neck. And breathe. And then one at a time, let's put our feet back down on the floor. So from here, just again, making sure that we're nice and neutral. So your lower back's on the floor, you're stable across your hips, you're stable across your upper back. Your neck is long, so the back of your head's on the floor. And just then from there, just walk your heels in a little bit closer towards your sit bones for our shoulder bridge. So now we're bringing the focus onto the back of the body. So we're opening up the hips, strengthening our backs and our glutes and our legs. So shoulder bridge, make sure your head's on the mat, not on a cushion or anything. So keep the back of the neck open. Breathe in, your heels are about hand distance, so if I didn't say so, your heels are about a hand distance away, so you need to bring them in a little bit closer to your sit bones. So when you're ready, breathe in. As you breathe out, tuck your tail under, flatten your lower back into that, press it down, squeeze your glutes, slowly peel your spine away from that. So just lifting your hips up towards the ceiling, keeping those sit bones level all the time. Breathe in. As you breathe out, slowly coming back down. So that really nice ripple goes all the way down your spine as you release it back down onto the mat. And go again. You can push into your feet, push your knees forward, trying to keep the knees hip width apart all the time. So again, we don't want to put any pressure in our joints. So hip width apart is our neutral position. So it really helps us to make sure we keep a really good alignment, keeping everything safe. So you don't need to come all the way onto your shoulders either. If you just want to do your little pelvic tips and tilts at the bottom, absolutely fine. Coming up and slowly coming back down again. So just if you want a little bit more, so you can just add in a little bit of weight going overhead and stretch into your shoulders and your chest. We can start to just float the arms up towards the ceiling so we peel our spines away from that. And you can take them as far towards the floor behind you as you want to. All the way back, maybe, as long as that doesn't cause you any discomfort in your shoulders. And so then we can bring the arms back up and over as you release your spine back down onto that. So just as your spine is releasing, your arms are just resting lightly on the mat down by your sides. And we can go again. So remember, just get your arms where they are if you want to. Just push into your feet, push your knees forward, squeeze your glutes. So your glutes are fired up all the time as you come in and out of your bridge. So really good for strengthening and coming down. Let's just do 2 more if you can. So probably could never do too many shoulder bridges. So really lovely exercise, keeps your spine really healthy, strengthens as well your back. Let's do 1 more. Sometimes your heels start to wander a little bit away from your sit bones, so just making sure that they're in that same place. And slowly coming back down again. So really, we've really extended our hips there as well. So really nice stretch for your flexors, for hip flexors even. So let's work the upper abdominals again a little bit. So see how you go with this. So just make sure your heels aren't too close towards your sit bone. So walk your heels away a little bit so you've got about that normal 90-degree-ish angle behind your knees. And everything else stays nice and stable and still. Just put your heels of your hands just at the base of your thighs, so your fingertips are pointing towards your knees. Shoulders wide and open, and shoulders start off on the mat. Keep the length in your neck. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just lift your head off the floor, start to peel your spine away from it. Just slide your fingertips up the front of your legs towards your knees. Doesn't matter how high you come. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just slide your hands back down the front of your thighs and release your shoulders and your head. So peeling away, sliding out, trying to keep your pelvis nice and still. Try not to close your shoulders and slowly coming back down again. So nice work for our upper abdomen. Just a little bit of support if you're sliding your hands up your legs, but don't press your hands into your legs, just slide them up. So just really guiding as we peel our upper bodies away from the mat. So you might just want to stay with this, which is fine if you do. Do one more like that. And you can remember, you don't need to keep going, you can rest anytime you do. What's quite important here is we're not allowing the tummy to push outwards, we're pulling in as we come up. So if you want a little bit more of a challenge, we're going to breathe out, we're going to slide the hands up the front of the legs, keep that space in between the chin and your chest, like you've got a tangerine tuck there. As you breathe in, just float your fingertips up towards the ceiling, keeping that lift of your upper spine. Then as you breathe out, just put your hands back on the front of your thighs and slowly slide your hands back down as your shoulders, your head come down. So just holding that lift if you can. Let's go again. Exhaling, hands slide up the thighs, up towards your knees. It doesn't matter how high you come, you might only go a little way up your thighs, that's fine. Then if you can, just float your arms up towards you. So maintain, don't let your upper body collapse. Put your hands back and then lower back down again. So really feeling that challenge in your abdomen. So you might feel this a little bit tomorrow when you wake up and I think, oh, I can feel that. You don't need to stay up and do this, remember. Your last one, let's go. Let's slide our hands up, fingertips towards the knees, lift your arms up, lower your hands back onto the front of your legs and slowly come all the way down. Take your arms all the way to the floor behind you. Slide your heels away. It's a really good chance now to just really stretch everything out. So full body stretch. So just reach through your fingertips, reach through your toes, and just stretch it all out. Then bring your arms up and over. Pop your arms slightly on the mat down by your sides. Bend your knees. We've just got time to do a little bit of side work. So lie onto one side or the other. It really doesn't matter which side you lie down on. Lengthen your bottom arm and rest your head on your bicep. You can put a cushion in between your head and your bicep if you want to, or you can put your head on a cushion and have your arm extended in line with your shoulder, otherwise head on your bicep. So let's bend our knees. So line your heels up with your sit bones and your shoulders. So you can use the back of your mat as a guide. So make sure you've got a really nice alignment there. So heels, hips and shoulders that lined up. Then put your hand on your hip and just make sure your top hip is sitting over your bottom hip. If it's not, just push it away so you get that little space underneath your sideways, so you lengthen both sides of your waist. Again, pull your tummy in or lift up your pelvic floor, so zip up your trousers, so making sure that your navel's drawing in towards your spine. You can keep your hand on your hip, lengthen your top arm, rest your hand on your hip, or fingertips on the floor if you want a little bit of stability. Let's just float the top leg away from the bottom leg. So all you've done is lifted the leg up so it's hip width apart from your bottom leg. The shape of the leg stays the same. Then, as you breathe in, we're just going to draw that top knee in towards the chest without moving anything else, and just keeping the knee bent, keeping the shape of the leg the same. As you breathe out, you're going to pull the knee just slightly behind the midline of the body, just till you feel your hip open, so your heel is coming towards your sit bone. And then breathing in, you're bringing the knee in, excuse me, and then breathing out, you're just sliding it back again. So all we're doing is moving through the hip. Nothing else changes. Your knee stays bent, your foot stays relaxed, but you're breathing. Remember your breath going into your upper body. So this is a side kick. It's a level 1 of a side kick. So again, it's a fairly basic exercise. Trying to keep your spine, your neck completely still. So breathing in as the knee comes in, and breathing out as the knee. You don't need to take the knee very far behind, just very slightly behind, and as close towards the chest as you can without moving anything else. So it can be a really small range of movement here if it needs to be. Let's make this one the last one. Breathing in, and then breathing out as the knee goes behind. Bring that knee forwards again until it's in alignment with your bottom knee, and then straighten your top leg. lengthen the top leg. It's still at hip height, so your toes are reaching towards the wall in front of your foot. Now flex your foot now so your toes point forwards, leg is still at hip height. Breathe in. As you breathe out, glide that top leg forwards, keeping the leg at hip height. Now point your toes as the leg comes slightly behind as you're breathing in. Same movement through your hip, but our leg is long now, and we're flexing the foot as the leg comes forward, and we're pointing the toes as the leg sweeps behind. So flexing the hip, foot flex as well, leg comes forward, point the toe as the leg sweeps behind. And just do that 2 more times. So the leg's not going to go very far behind. Sweep the leg as far forward as you can without moving anything else. So don't round the spine. Did I say 2 more? This is our last one. Sweep the leg forward and then sweep the leg behind. Then bend the knee, that top knee, and bring that top knee forward. Rest it on the mat in front of your bottom leg. And you can roll that top hip forward somewhat. So you just really try and switch off the muscles around your hips and around your glutes. Then all you need to do is the same on your other side. So if you can, just roll over onto your other side. So I can't see how you're lying down. You might just be able to roll over onto your other side. Otherwise, come up to seated and lie down again. So then just taking that time, so rest your bottom, lengthen your bottom head on your bicep or on a cushion. Bend your knees, heels towards your sit bones, and your heels, your sit bones and your shoulders are lined up with the back side of your mat, so finding that nice alignment there. Make sure that your hips are stacked, as are your shoulders, your knees and your feet, so you should hopefully got a little space underneath your side, so you'll lengthen both sides of your waist. And hand on your hip, hand on your thigh, fingertips on the floor. If you want a little bit more stability, absolutely fine. So when you're ready, pull your abdominals in, making that connection to your centre to stabilise. Just float your top leg away from the bottom leg, so it's just hip distance away from your bottom leg. Relax your top foot. As you breathe in, we're going to bring the knee in towards the chest. And as you breathe out, you're going to slide that leg slightly behind you, just until you feel that top hip opening. And then breathing in. So remember, as before, the only movement is through your hip, not your knee, not your foot, not your spine or your neck. Try and switch your bottom leg off completely. That's done its work. So it's just the top leg with the bent knee, just gliding forwards and gliding back. So really nice exercise for hip mobility, for strengthening the muscles in your hips and your glutes as well. Don't rush. So just going to do that 2 more times. And keep the movement really small if you need to. Remember, it doesn't have to be big to be effective. Then line your top knee up with your bottom knee, stretch your top leg away, reaching through your toes, keeping that space under your sideways, and flex your foot, toes point forward so your legs at hip height. Breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to glide that top leg forward, then point your toes as the leg goes just a little way behind that midline. Forwards, flex your foot, and behind as you're pointing your toes. Try not to press into the leg or the foot that's on the floor. That should be completely switched off. It's just a smooth movement, so you're just sliding it forwards, sliding it backwards. So flexing the hip and extending the hip. 2 more, nearly there. And that last time, so the leg's going to go behind that last time. Then bend your top knee, just let the top knee rest on the mat in front of your bottom leg. Just allowing that top hip to roll forwards. Switching on. Let's just come up to seated, so nice easy transition. First of all, we'll just stretch the back of the legs just quickly. While we just got a few seconds or a few minutes, lengthen your legs long if you can, but bend your knees if that's uncomfortable. Try and put your toes up towards the ceiling, sit really nice and tall. Breathe in as you reach your arms up towards the ceiling, and as you breathe out, just fold over. So you get a nice stretch into your back and into the back of your legs as well. Hamstrings, calves.
Keep your toes pointing to the ceiling. Just hold that stretch just for breath to go. Remember, bend your knees. Don't making sure you're not putting any pressure in your lower back. Then let's unfold, reach your arms up towards the ceiling and circle your arms wide to the sides. And then just cross your legs, sit with your legs crossed, unless you want to just keep your legs hip width apart with your feet down. Cross your legs if you can. Sit really nice and tall, shoulders away from your ears. And from here, lift your hands up towards the interlace your feet. Just take your hands behind the back of your head. And then keep your elbows nice and wide. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just start to tuck your turbinate and navel draws in towards your spine, chin towards your chest. And when you've rounded your spine, just draw your elbows in towards each other. So a nice stretch across your major upper back. Then open the elbows wide as you restack your spine. And then sit really nice and tall. If you can, just pull the elbows slightly behind you and look up towards the ceiling. So you just get that nice stretch, extending your spine. And then just sit nice and tall with your shoulders over your hips. Then reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Look up, breathe in, just stretch, reach your fingertips to the ceiling. And as you breathe out, just take your arms wide to the sides and bring your arms all the way down by the side of your hips. And then we can just roll the shoulders, uncross your legs, so we can just release up into our legs again. So keep your legs a little bit of a shake out there. And then, well done. Thank you very much, everybody. Again, not